Welcome to the TheDNaz channel. Today, we're going to get a little batshit crazy. We're going to talk about humanity, how long it's been around, and if aliens built the pyramids and shit or not, you know? So let's get fucking started, all right? Cuz there's a big misconception that our ancient ancestors were like some primitive people. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Humanity's been around for, you know, like the human species been around for millions of years. And 200,000 years ago is when the telomere caps were put on us and everything changed. It changed. I guess it has something to do with connecting our brain to our tongue and it made us smarter. All right, so this is going back 200,000 years. And modern archaeology will just tell you, you know, that, it was 3,000 years ago, like it was the only civilization. Get the hell out of here. We have all this proof. So, you know, in the last 200 years, our science has boomed like crazy, right? Like we went from like nothing to full technology, right? So if we've been two, let's just say 200,000 years, even though we've been around longer than that, you mean to tell me that if we could advance the way we did in 200 years, in 200,000 years, what do you think they were just throwing rocks and sticks at things like that? No. What do you think? This is my argument against aliens building the pyramids and all that. I don't, like there could be other species and they could have something to do with humanity, but to say that humans were not smart is ridiculous. Like if anybody picks up ancient texts, we have 4,000 Greek authors. Okay, books 2,000 years old. From BCE. We like 300 BCE, around the time of Jesus. We have so many authors, right? And nobody reads these books. They just sit on shelves collecting dust. Like we have these books. They're all, a lot of it's ancient Greek. I mean, we have so many old texts that'll tell you stories about how old civilization is, right? And they'll tell you stories about, like if you look at the Mayans, they'll tell you, or I think it's the Aztec calendar. I'm sorry, the Aztec calendar has the last four times humanity has had a natural disaster or been wiped out. All right, so we've come back plenty of times. The last time was Atlantis. Atlantis was the time before us, which came by flood. I mean, it's clear that that's the Younger Dryas, right? There was just humanity had technology. Humanity, the Egyptians, even a couple thousand years ago, they had technology. They had electricity. There's something called the Baghdad Battery. You know, People really just don't understand how long humans have been on Earth, right? And we have evidence of land masses that are now underwater, like places like Lemuria, and like the Children of Mu. Um, we have so many structures in the ocean. Bimini Road. You have no clue how much stuff is underwater just in Florida. They're discovered. They're I think they're archaeologists, but they're called like deep dive archaeologists or something like that, and they dig underwater, and they're bringing up some crazy stuff right now from Florida, right? So I mean, not only are we ancient, all right, but the the mathematical ability that they had is crazy. I mean, all of their monuments align with the stars, and we carried that tradition. I mean, if you look at the Knights Templar, they built the cathedral in Notre Dame. It's if you look at it from above, it goes in the constellation of Virgo. I mean, we carried that tradition from the Egyptians. We're like the Greeks. The Greeks had a machine. It was called the Antikytheron. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, and it was made out of stone, and it had gears, right? And I think it like predicted the cycle of the stars. A stone machine, All right, and you could look this up. You can look this up. Our ancestors were not dumb, right? And we need to. They say, what is it? The keys to the future are in the past. You know what I mean, or whatever the fuck they say. I don't know, but they really. I mean, there could be a lot of species, but they really want to push the alien theory. You could see it everywhere. They really want to push like the things in the sky being aliens. Are you kidding me? The if you go back to the 50s, we had virtual reality back then. If you go to the 60s, we had airplanes that were sonic boom airplanes, and they would get from America to Europe in 3 hours. We can't do that. We don't. The planes don't do that today. You know, so we had this technology. We've had this technology like crazy. If you look at Hitler and the Nazi bell, you can look that up. There's a video of it. It's chained up and it's like flying around everywhere. They clearly have this technology. The things flying around the sky are just friggin' us, and they don't. You know, our government is 300 years ahead of us in technology. You know, so think about that. You know, yeah, that doesn't mean there's not different species. It doesn't mean there's not different entities, but the spirit realm is completely different. They're not manifesting flying around in spaceships on Earth. You know what I mean? So scientists made science boring. And archaeology is just has a false narrative, and it's just for their benefit. So they don't want to change any, because they make money off their theories of when they what they write down, and they don't want to change the narrative. Gobekli Tepe was the most recent one to push the narrative, and it only pushed it back 12,000 years, and that's all they want to accept. The Native Americans here in America were around for here for 30,000 years, probably more. You know, and they have they have all the mounds here where their dead are buried, and every now and again we go to do a construction, and we accidentally dig up their sites, and they get upset about it. And I'd be pissed too. So like, you also know about the government doing tests for telepathy, right? I don't know if you ever heard of it, but they have documented, they've done tests, and when they were spying on Russia, they took a couple psychics, and they used psychics to help spy on Russia, and they ran tests, and these guys were drawing. They would like put an item somewhere across the world, and the guy would know where it is. They would ask him to draw it where it is or explain where it is. You know what I mean? So we've had all this knowledge for so long. The Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, they tried leaving us this knowledge that we are, that we need to raise our consciousness and we are something special, right? That's why I try to introduce you to old texts. If you go to, I mean, even let's just talk about math. The math, like how we can't figure out the pyramids today. I go pick up, like, there's one like Apollonius and conicals, and it shows all the dimensions of a circle, right? I mean, half a circle is 180 degrees, which is our man's arc of horizon. It's what we see in the sky. It's in our line of vision. It is 180 degrees. The full globe is 360 degrees, right? So I have a hard time in school doing algebra because it's based off fake numbers. Like, but when you do geometry, it's so much easier to understand because you could draw it out. You can visualize, like trigonometry is the math of a triangle. You know what I mean? So like, you can visualize geometry, and it's way easier to teach. And if you read, the ancient books, I wish I had one off the top of my head, but like I said, conicals, that's a good start right there. You can understand math so much easier than the way we were taught math. And because it's real math, it's based off real math. We went in a fake direction where all this algebra. That's why no one understands it. That's why everyone has a hard time with it, because it's just based off. We have fake numbers and all this stupid stuff. Makes no sense, you know. If you ask where they get this math from, they'll all tell you. You know, like Tesla will tell you that he was getting visions. That's how he, you know, that he never claimed to be so smart. He was saying he was getting visions. He was getting equations in his head. Einstein said the same thing, even though Einstein stole someone else's work, but that's another story, you know? But this is why we shouldn't lose spirituality, because there's something there to connect to. You know, they call it the Akashic Records. You know, we can connect to the one consciousness. We can connect to that, and it can give us knowledge. How do you think these people were getting this the math that they had? I mean, it's phenomenal. And they're moving stones that are like 500 miles away. Giant. They weigh hundreds and thousands of tons of stone. You know, the pyramids. It's insane. It's insane, and they're so perfect and precise. But but like I said, the argument is this was not aliens. You know what I mean? These were humans. Humans have the power to do these things. You know, and so the Younger Dryas is known to be around 12,000 years ago. Now, if you go back 3,000 years, when Plato was around, Plato learned the story of Atlantis from his grandfather, right? So Plato said that Atlantis was 9,000 years before him, and then the world died by flood. And that would put you right at the Younger Dryas, right? So, I mean, you know, humanity's made it to a point of technology many times, and they've screwed up. Apparently, that's what it seems to be. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita is, it seems like Krishna talks about nuclear bombs. You know, if you look at when we dropped the first nuke, there's that famous video, the guy saying, "Now I've become death, destroyer of worlds." You know, he was quoting Krishna. So, man, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn, and it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. That's why I want to bring you guys to this knowledge. You know, you got to look into these. Look into the ancient Greeks. Look into the ancient Romans. Look how they Look how they did everything. You know, look at their teachings. Look at Aristotle. You know, I mean, you gotta read things and also question too. Don't just believe what somebody tells. You know, don't just believe the first thing you read. That's what's called Plato's cave, and that's why Plato wasn't really liked, because there's a famous painting of him or of Plato's cave where there's a couple guys behind the wall, and on each side of the wall, and the guys behind the wall, where the sun's coming in, they have these little stick puppets, and then it's making a shadow on the wall. And the guys on the other side of the wall, they can't see. They think that's reality, and it's just showing you, because that's like being in Plato's cave, because Plato actually wanted to make structuralized religion. He wanted to create religion. So this is how you know they were creating religions back then. You know, a lot to control people. But you also have to understand religion and government go together, and everybody was spiritual back then. But they used religion in a smart way, like the ancient Greeks, and like they wrote poems, and like we have nursery rhymes growing up. If you look into the nursery rhymes of the ancient Greeks, you know, like let's say it Orion chases away the bull, right? There's a story like that. And what that means is in the winter you see Orion in the sky, right? So in the summer the bull, Taurus, is in the sky, right? So Orion with his bow chases away the bull, so that's how you know it's winter when Orion is shining bright in the sky. Right now you can see Orion beautifully. You know, his belt goes this way and his sword goes down this way. And by the way, you could travel that way. That's how you travel by sea. You use Orion by the way the sword is tilting. I'm not sure which way is which, but if it's tilting one way, you're heading east or west, you know? So, I mean, these people map the stars. And one thing I find fascinating is a lot of people say, you know, how'd they map the stars? Like, because you're thinking about looking up. But what they did, they used reflecting ponds. So they looked down. So it was very easy to map the stars and follow the stars. You know what I mean? And see how they are moving, which ones are moving. They called the planets wanderers. There's only 7 planets according to them. What was it? It was like Mercury, the Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, you know? And Earth was the center of the universe, you know? So, I mean, this is what they believed. It's just so amazing what we have done and how we don't realize how amazing we are. I mean, more people need to travel and see these places and go there and feel the energy of these places and really see the awe of these places so they can realize the awesomeness of being human. You know, it's so great. Like, we are so great, such a great species. We are very special, and we need to understand that. And now cure all our depression. We need to understand that we are very special. We control what we're gonna make the universe into. You know, that's very powerful. We have the power to make the future better, right? So, you know, sometimes scientists, they kill the magic. They kill the magic in the world. You know what I mean? Because they make the world seem so bleak and, you know, no God. They lose spirituality. They're material. They're material. But nothing in this realm is physical. They're stuck in the material ways. You know what I mean? And they take the magic out of it. Like when you have like a beautiful story about, you know, like if you go to the like natives creation story or the Hopi people's creation story, you hear all these different tribes, their creation story. I think they're beautiful. You know what I mean? A scientist just want to dismiss that. They just want to make it's like they take the magic out of the world. Don't listen to everything. Don't they just tell you they're smarter than you. That bullshit. You know what I mean? Question them. Question everything. You know? Don't let them fucking fool you into fucking believing what they want, you know? So yeah, I told you we were getting deep with it. Maybe there are aliens, you know? I don't see why they would manifest here. I think they're way above us. You know what I mean? I think they're enlightened spiritually and they're trying to guide us there, if anything, you know? I mean, the universe is so vast. I mean, we can't even fathom it, and we can't fathom what a God is. You know, we like to humanize God. We like to call him. You know, he's not he is she. Are you kidding? He's everything. He's everything, and everything is magnetism. You know, magnetism is what makes everything in this realm. Like, you know what I mean? It's the toroidal field of the earth. The magnetism of the earth, the toroidal field. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this, you know. People think like the Devil's Triangle and, where the planes go missing and then the Bermuda Triangle and all that. It's because we have these magnetic fields and they go into the earth, and at a certain point, there's a gap. It's called the tropical gap of Capricorn, right? And Cancer. Tropical gap of Cancer, tropical gap of Capricorn, all right? These are where this is where the break is. That's why the magnets spin on the planes, and that's why you know what I mean? That's why those anomalies happen, because the magnetic field splits there. Sheesh, we're getting into it. I'm loving it, though. I'm loving it. The world is so amazing. I keep trying to tell you This world is amazing. There's so much to explore. There's so much I want to learn and teach. And I love to hear your guys' opinions. You know, whether you disagree or not, I love you. Leave some comments down there. Like and subscribe. This is the DNaz channel. I hope to see you again.